Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Yeshi Chanzom. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Tuesday, the 10th of November. Indian Prime Minister Modi emphasizes on respecting territorial integrity at SCO meet amid border tensions with China. Pakistan Prime Minister says his party will win Gilgit-Baltistan polls while protests continue. And elephant's unique hairstyle and organ playing skills delights temple visitors in southern India. And now for all the details. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday delivered a stern message to China and Pakistan while addressing the virtual summit of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization held against the backdrop of the India-China border tensions. In a speech via video conferencing, PM Modi said that all nations should respect each other's sovereignty and territorial integrity.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday said that all member nations of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization should respect each other's sovereignty and territorial integrity, delivering a stern message to China and Pakistan at the 20th SCO summit held virtually in the backdrop of India-China border tensions. In his speech, PM Modi said India has always worked as per the charter of the SCO. However, unwanted attempts are being made to bring in bilateral issues in the SCO agenda. He also called for reformed multilateralism to better the economy affected by coronavirus pandemic.
भारत का मानना है कि कनेक्टिविटी को और अधिक गहरा करने के लिए यह आवश्यक है कि एक दूसरे की संप्रभुता और टेरिटोरियल इंटीग्रिटी के सम्मान के मूल सिद्धांतों के साथ आगे बढ़ा जाए.
This was the first occasion where PM Modi shared the same platform with Chinese President Xi Jinping since India-China border tensions erupted and escalated after 20 Indian soldiers died in a violent standoff with Chinese troops in Ladakh's Galwan Valley in June this year. Both sides have held a series of diplomatic and military talks to resolve the border standoff. However, no breakthrough has been achieved to defuse the situation.
Indian capital New Delhi's overall air quality index skyrocketed to 534 under the severe category on Tuesday, a seasonal high this year, according to country's Environment Monitoring Agency, SAFAR. It comes as Delhi, suffering a third wave of coronavirus infections, is facing one of the worst spells of pollution in years. Air quality in India's capital deteriorated to its worst this year on Tuesday, prompting residents to complain about stinging eyes, sore throat and breathlessness in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic. Delhi's overall AQI air quality index, which measures pollutants including particulate matter PM 2.5 particles, rose to 488, its highest level in a year. In some areas, PM10 levels stood at 777 micrograms per cubic meter, the highest since November 2019.
हमें फॉग की वजह से आगे दिखने में दिक्कत है, आंखों में जलन सी मचती है, सांस लेने में दिक्कत हो रही है, इससे बहुत सारी परेशानियां आ रही हैं, लोगों को भी आ रही हैं.
It comes as Delhi, suffering a third wave of coronavirus infections, is facing one of the worst spells of pollution in years, partly due to crop waste fires in neighboring states and local emission from vehicular exhausts. Authorities have banned the sale and use of firecrackers ahead of Diwali festival in a bid to curb pollution, but environmentalists have called on the government to do more.
So as we've been saying, air pollution plus COVID complication is going to be extremely bad, and that's actually displaying on the ground. And we've seen yesterday National Green Tribunal actually put a ban on firecrackers. It's a welcome move because when your entire city is in ICU, it's very important for everyone to take those drastic measures because the situation is only going to get worse.
Meanwhile, India reported less than 40,000 cases of the coronavirus disease in a single day for the second time in November, taking the country's tally to over 8,591,730 on Tuesday. India's active cases have come down to nearly 50% lower than the September 18 peak. Security forces on Tuesday neutralized two terrorists in an encounter in Shopian district of India's Jammu and Kashmir. This came a day after police seized a huge cache of arms and ammunition from a hideout of Pakistan-based Lashkar-e-Taiba terror outfit in Poonch district near the de facto border line of control.
At least two terrorists were neutralized in an encounter in Shopian district of India's Union territory of Jammu and Kashmir on Tuesday. The encounter broke out after security forces had launched an operation in Kutpura area of Shopian early in the morning based on specific inputs. The Kashmir Zone Police confirmed the killing of the terrorists on Twitter, while informing operations were still going on in the area. This came a day after Jammu and Kashmir police seized a cache of arms and ammunition from a terrorist hideout in Poonch district near the border with Pakistan. Police said the cache belonged to Pakistan-based terrorist outfit Lashkar-e-Taiba, according to initial inputs.
Moving on, Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan has said his Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf party will clean sweep the upcoming polls in Gilgit-Baltistan while protests against the November 15 elections continue in the illegally occupied region. Opposition leaders have accused Imran Khan of pre-poll rigging and sabotaging the election by announcing provisional provincial status to the region.
Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan on Monday said his PTI, the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf party, will clean sweep the upcoming polls in Gilgit-Baltistan. Khan's remarks came during a meeting to review the country's overall political situation amid opposition's anti-PTI campaign and ongoing protests in the illegally occupied Gilgit-Baltistan against the elections to be held on November 15 in violation of UN resolutions. Former Chief Minister of Gilgit-Baltistan, Hafizur Rahman, a leader of Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz Party, has accused Imran Khan of pre-poll rigging and sabotaging the election by recently announcing provisional provincial status to the region.
अब आप बताएं क्या इस इलेक्शन को कोई फ्री एंड फेयर मान सकता है? क्या इस इलेक्शन को गैर जानिबदाराना कहा जा सकता है? क्या इलेक्शन को पुरअमन कहा जा सकता है? तो अब आप बताएं, हमें ये कहा जाता है कि आप अदालतों का रुख करें. हमारी एक पार्टी अपोजिशन की गई है अदालत में.
Meanwhile, Pakistan's People Party chairman Bilawal Bhutto Zardari on Monday claimed that Imran Khan's announcement to grant provincial status to Gilgit-Baltistan is a move to influence voting. There is a huge resentment among locals in the illegally occupied region against the arbitrary decision and the move to hold elections. Pakistan's 11 opposition parties, which form the coalition Pakistan Democratic Movement, have opposed the decision, but most parties are contesting the polls.
In news from Afghanistan, Afghanistan's second Vice President Sarwar Danish has blamed the Taliban for consistent delays and lack of progress to kickstart direct negotiations in Doha. Danish said the Taliban is the main obstacle for progress in the peace negotiations and that the group does not believe in a peaceful solution to the years-old war in Afghanistan.
Afghanistan's second Vice President Sarwar Danish has blamed the Taliban for consistent delays and lack of progress in the direct negotiations between negotiating teams of the Afghan government and the militant group in Doha. Danish at a gathering on Monday said the Taliban is the main obstacle for progress in the peace negotiations and that the group does not believe in a peaceful solution to the years-old war in Afghanistan. The senior leader suggested the newly elected US administration should review the Afghan peace process and that there is a need for support to the process from all sides. Peace negotiations between Afghan government and the Taliban were inaugurated in September with the hope to end the 4 decades of war in the country. But the two sides have not been able to reach consensus on religious basis for the talks and the connection of the US-Taliban deal with the talks in Doha.
In news from Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka has recorded a sudden surge in COVID-19 infections since last month after 2 new clusters were identified which spread to several other parts of the country. Amid rising COVID cases, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa exuded confidence that his government's health service can control COVID-19, but people's support is essential.
Sri Lankan President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, in a meeting of the COVID-19 Suppression Task Force on Monday, said the health service of his country can easily suppress the COVID-19 pandemic, and what's needed is the support of the people. The president said it was the duty of the people to take personal responsibility to understand this situation and prevent themselves from contracting the disease. Gotabaya had earlier emphasized that the coronavirus threat hasn't subsided, but the region must be opened up because the economy can't sustain a continued closure. Sri Lanka has counted 14,285 COVID-19 patients with 36 deaths since the pandemic began. Both figures have been increasing because of two recent clusters that account for more than 9,900 of the total infections. Meanwhile, as authorities had decided to lift the curfew in order to restart economic activities, the health officials warned all citizens across the nation to strictly follow the health guidelines in order to prevent a further spread. Schools across the country remain closed since last month.
Moving on to news from Bangladesh. Hindus across Bangladesh celebrated Rakhir Upvas, a religious fasting festival, over the past weekend amid coronavirus pandemic. The devotees offered prayers and burnt incense and lit oil lamps before breaking their fast on the occasion. This year, the devotees had to follow precautionary measures during celebrations as coronavirus cases continue to spike across densely populated Bangladesh.
Hindu devotees across Bangladesh celebrated Rakhar Upvas, a religious fasting festival over the past weekend. Amid the coronavirus pandemic, devotees joined prayers with burning incense and light oil lamps before breaking their fast on the occasion. This year, the devotees had to follow coronavirus prevention rules before entering the temple, as the country is witnessing spike in the COVID-19 infection rate. Bangladesh has so far recorded 421,921 confirmed coronavirus cases with at least 6,092 deaths. According to a recent release by Directorate General of Health Services, over 4,000 people were infected with coronavirus, while around 50 died on average every day during the peak of coronavirus outbreak in May and June months in Bangladesh. The infection rate from the last week of September began decreasing a bit in the country and even came down to 10% in October, but now it has again started growing.
Elephants share a close bonding with humans, with many stories revolving around Tusker and their love. A temple elephant in India's southern Tamil Nadu state with unique hairstyle is getting a lot of love and has become a huge attraction among the visitors for playing mouth organ.
Famous as bob-cutting Sengamalam, a temple elephant with unique hairstyle playing mouth organ in India's southern Tamil Nadu state, has become a huge attraction among the visitors. Bob-cut Sengamalam plays mouth organ with her trunk, leaving visitors impressed. Sengamalam was brought to the Rajagopala Swami temple in the state's Managuri town in 2003 and has been provided utmost care and treatment by her trainer Rajagopal since then. Rajagopal gave her the unique bob cut look and washes them 3 times a day during summers and at least twice a day in other seasons.
என் பேர் சுபஸ்ரீ, நான் கூத்தாநல்லூர்லேருந்து வரேன். யானையோட இந்த ஹேர் ஸ்டைலுக்காகவே நாங்கள் இந்த கோயிலுக்கு வந்திருந்தோம். ஃபஸ்ட் டைம் நான் என் குழந்தைய தூக்கிட்டு இங்கே வந்திருக்கேன். இந்த மாதிரி ஹேர் ஸ்டைலோட நான் யானை வேறு எங்கேயும் பார்த்ததே இல்லை. இந்த யானையை பார்க்கறதுக்காகவே இங்கே வந்திருந்தோம். எங்கள் ஃபேமிலியோடு தான் நான் வந்திருக்கோம். என் பாவா, என் தங்கச்சி, என் மாமியார் எல்லாரையும் கூட கூட்டிகிட்டு வந்திருக்கோம்.
This elephant is so cute hairstyles. It's also playing mouth organs.
Elephants are deeply revered in India, where the elephant-headed god Ganesha is one of the most popular in the Hindu pantheon and is also considered lucky. India has more than 50% of Asiatic elephants. However, its population has been dwindling due to frequent poaching for its ivory.
Well, that's all we have for you from South Asia this evening. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/AsAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @AsAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.